we're all in the technology business. We're telling agents what you should do with AI. Let's turn it around. And what should they not be doing in relation to AI? Is there any guidance, help you can provide? Is like, what shouldn't we be doing?
I tell people AI is like a table saw with no guards on it. And it's a really powerful new tool if you're used to cutting things manually, but it also might cut your hand off if you're not having the proper guardrails. So I think guardrail number one is just like get a paid version so that you're hopefully feeling better about where you're sending your data. Like you do experiments, but be very careful. There's new things like prompt injection. There's new things like supply chain attacks where like we have to think about it one right. I think 2 weeks ago, there's a new one where a code library that we might depend on to render our software, total normal, open source, MIT license, like they got infected and we pull that software into our software. And so we could have almost as a supply chain attack, have our entire software impacted because someone else was impacted. It's called a supply chain thing. So supply chain attack. And so there's just all these new things. So I'd say experiment, but put guardrails in as well so that you're being thoughtful and not cut your hand off.
In keeping with that, I would say don't build saws on your own. Unless you're doing this 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, sleeping on your desk, chances are very good that you will not be up to speed on everything that's going on in the space. And I'll just tell a quick story about my wife sells for a medical device company called Stryker. If you've been watching the kind of cyber breach, kind of cyber insurance space, they were absolutely one of the more memorable attacks of the new year. And they lost $4 billion worth of market value and about, depends on who you talk to, but about $100 million in sales in 6 weeks because they got attacked through a piece of software that their in-house engineering team had built over the course of 3 years and just launched. And they're a Fortune 500 company. So if they get it wrong and they're not even trying to build with AI, it's just really difficult environment to build on your own right now.
There's a ton you can do with OpenAI and Claude and OpenClaw, all these different platforms. You should never be using a free account like Peter said. So get a paid business account. Look at the security parameters because there's a ton of choices within these platforms. If you want to use do-it-yourself tools, and then think about what you're giving it. And if that were to be out or be breached, is it going to damage your customer or your business? Like using AI for marketing is wonderful. It is so great. You can do a ton with it. It can help you idea, plan, expand, write creatively. That's a really safe thing to do with AI. But if you want to feed it your customers, like I saw this agent who was being innovative, but connected it to Progressive, fed it underwriting information and had a bot quote into the Progressive platform, an agentic bot, without any carrier permission, any customer permission. That was feeding all the VIN numbers, socials, like loss, all of this private information into a free version of OpenAI. And I just lost it. Like it's such a risk. If you're going to use these tools, you're going to do them yourself. You need to have really good cyber insurance in place. Don't build tools when you can't read code. Like I can't read code. We work in CRM. I have people on my team who can, but if I'm going to use a tool and make something, like make a program and the AI made it and I have no idea what it made, it seems like it works, there could be a lot of stuff in there that can cause problems really fast. Another example of this from a big company perspective, a family of mine is a senior director at Travelers Insurance. They deployed some AI and it caused 4 months worth of damage in 2 hours. Because it hallucinated it didn't have the right guard bell. So these tools are so cool, but just know that it can cause a lot of problems really fast before you catch it. And just think about if they had caught that for a couple of days. They caught it 2 hours and were able to stop it. But it took the team that was impacted 4 months to undo that damage. So be careful, know what you're doing. And even when you go to use AI companies, like not the ones you're building yourself, but people you want to hire, vet them. Ask questions. A lot of these new companies are doing things in scapegoating like privacy policies, security protocols, and they're not considering compliance. And I ask those questions when we vet companies to make sure that our agents are getting put in a bad position. There's vendors out the vendor hall that I wouldn't recommend. Most of them are great, but there are ones out there who don't think about compliance or security and they're just build it. So just be really careful.